Yeah, we kicking old style. 20th Century Project. Let's hit him. Norman Rockwell, you made those penny one by one for 7 magazines and organization. Then you said sub Teddy here. You the man 1902 for all the boys and girls. Thomas Edison, you keep reading those amazing inventions like the place at man. Not for you the coolest when you were founded by Robert Perry. Model T. You were made in 1908 by Henry Ford. 1912 Titanic sank to the ocean floor by hitting iceberg. The greatest war was fought in 1914 by the Ally in the Central Power WW1. The Panama Canal opened in 1914 with the help of the U.S. Babe Ruth, you're just not a candy bar. You are one of the best players of all time in baseball. Keep making those silent movies you made in 1914. Charlie Chaplin. Starting in 1915, many assembly lines were formed for faster production for product. Thank you, Gandalf, for helping spread civil rights all over the world. Charles Nicholas was executed in 1918 and was very proud of it. Now we just hit the 20, where Prohibition just started. Prohibition is the banning of alcohol in the country where 1920s women suffrage has been passed. Means the right for a woman to vote and run for office. In 1922, King Tut's tomb has been opened for the whole world to see. Yeah, then my homie Calvin Coolidge was elected to be president the year after. In 1927, Mount Rushmore was finished with all the 4 presidents on it. Penicillin, curing the ill, antibiotic. Academy Awards started in 1929 for all the directors, actors, and writers. Then the stock market crash of 1929 happened, which led to the Great Depression. During the Great Depression, Al Capone, American gangster, bully liquor. Brand New World was a book that showed development in reproductive technology and sleep learning. Driving was started in 1932 when the people watched movies from the car in their booth. Lou G, you the best baseman of all time in baseball. Jesse Owens was a track and field player who participated in 1936 summer. And now I'm gone with the wind. Marshall Michelle talks about the Civil War and Reconstruction in the United States. Amelia Earhart, you're also gone with the wind when you flew across the Atlantic Ocean. Hindenburg disaster happened in 1937 when a German passenger airship Hindenburg caught fire and was destroyed. World War II started in 19 was between the Allies and Axis. Pearl Harbor was attacked in 1941 by Japan. Ibot and Costello was a comedy duo that worked on stage, radio, film, and television. During the Manhattan Project, the United States made an atomic bomb. They bombed Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Many people opposed wars by anti-war movement, riots, protests, and other many ways to stop war. Tension to keep communism from spreading to other countries around it between the USSR and the United States, also called the Cold War. Hiroshima and Nagasaki are 2 big Japan cities that were bombed by U.S. atomic bomb. The United Nations is an organization to remain peace all over the world. McCarthy did lots of blacklist and many celebrities in films which ruined their careers. Jackie Robinson was the first African-American Major League Baseball player of the modern era. Kodak started making instant cameras in 48, which generated a developed film image instantly. The NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, helped remain peace in many countries. North versus South Korea, the Korean War started in 1950 with the U.S. helping the South side. Polio vaccine was made in 1952. It helped cure polio. The Checkered Speech was an address made by Richard Nixon, which helped him win his presidency in 1950. Elvis is an international rock and roll figure from 1950 that made so many songs like Jailhouse Rock in 1957. Brown Vista's Board of Education Topeka established is unconstitutional for there to be public schools for black and white students. James Dean was an American film actor that received a post-Humor Academy Award nomination for Best Actor. Rosa Parks was an African-American civil rights activist that started the Montgomery bus boycott. The Vietnam War was a war for the United States containing communism. Lil Hammer, aka Hank Aaron, is a retired baseball player that was one of the greatest baseball players of all time. transatlantic phone cable is the first telephone cable system that ran under the Atlantic Ocean. Sputnik was a various robotic spacecraft missions launched by the Soviet Union in 1957. The first computer chip maintained was made in 1959. Alaska and Hawaii put in the United States and became the 489th and the 50th state. In the 1960s, many famous people died like Martin Luther King, Robert F. Kennedy, Malcolm X, John F. Kennedy. A group in the 1960s called the Beatles rocked it out in America and was one of the hugest bands. JFK was the 35th president of the United States that started serving in 1961. JFK's inaugural address was made on January 20th, 1961. During a time after the World War, the Soviet Union made a Berlin Wall, and it was torn down in 1961. John Glenn was the first American senator to orbit the Earth and the third American to be in space. The Cuban Missile Crisis was a confront between the Soviet Union, Cuba, and the United States, where the United States was trying to work with Cuba so they wouldn't get bombed or hit with the missile. The Flatiron Building is one of the tallest buildings in the city of New York. In 1963, Martin Luther King led the March on Washington, where he delivered his I Have a Dream speech. Bari was made in 1964 by Mantel Inc.
In 1968, African Americans had won their civil rights. They have now outlawed racial discrimination against African Americans and restored voting rights
in southern cities where the African Americans. 1966, the moon landing was the first arrival of a spaceship on the surface of the moon. In 1966, San Francisco had an earthquake. The Super Bowl started in 1967, where the Packers won against the Kansas City Chiefs. RFK was assassinated in 1958 by Saran. Woodstock was a music festival, which was 3 days of peace and music. Kent State had a massacre on May 4th, 1970. In the 1970s, the U.S. had an oil crisis, where the OPEC did not buy oil to the United States because of their decision to reply the Israel military. Disco was a genre of dance music that peaked the late 70s. Summer Olympics, where the Israel Olympic team was taken hostage and murdered by the Islamic terror. MASH was an American television series made by Larry Gerbald. Roe v. Wade was a U.S. Supreme Court decision about the issue of abortion. Phrased by Richard Nixon, Peace with Honor, in 1972 to describe the Paris Peace Accord to end the Vietnam War. In 1974, Richard Nixon resigned from the presidency of the United States and then had a pardon from Gerald Ford. Punk rock is a rock music genre that was made in 1974. Watergate was a scandal that happened in 1974 where Republicans broke into the Democratic National Committee headquarters at the Watergate building. Star Wars, American space movie series made by George Lucas.
Luke, I am your son.
A member in the middle class in their 20s and 30s were known as yuppies. The most dangerous volcanic event in the United States happened in 1980 when Mount St. Helena erupted. AIDS were discovered in 1981. AIDS are a virus, also known as HIV. Princess Diana was the Princess of Wales that was married in 1981 as a member of the British royal family. MTV was made in 1981 that was located in New York City that played music videos. E.T. Extraterrestrial was directed by Steven Spielberg, which is about Earth children helping a stranded alien return to his home planet. MASH ended in 1983 with the finale, which became the most watched television episode in U.S. television history. A total of 1.5 million viewers. The Iran-Contra affair was when Iranian people took American hostages and held them by terrorist groups in Iraq. 1986, 2001, Space Odyssey was created and directed by Stanley Kubrick, which is about a mankind finding a mysterious artifact. In 1986, Space Challenger broke in 73 seconds. Death of 7 people. Chernobyl disaster nuclear accident that happened in 86 in Ukraine. Roots is a 1977 American miniseries television show based on Alex Haley's novel. 87, Black Monday started was when the stock markets crashed. Tiananmen had protests which became into a massacre. World Wide Web leaked in 1989 by Sir Tim Berners-Lee. Operation Desert Storm was a successful U.S. response to Iraq's attempt to take over Kuwait. USSR broke up in 91 because of many events such as the leader's death. Bill Clinton was the 42nd president 93. In 94, Michael Jordan retired for the first time because of his lost honor of his game. In Oklahoma City, Alfred Murray Federal Building was bombed by an act of terrorism. One of the first successful clonings started in 97. Clinton's impeachment happened. She was charged for perjury 2 times and 1 abuse of power. In 1999, Columbine Massacre happened when 2 senior students killed 12 students and 1 teacher. Corporate mergers, when a corporation finances and manages dealing with buying and selling, combining with 2 different companies or more that can help them grow. In 1999, Yeltsin resigned from being the leader of Moscow and Russia. In October of 2001, the U.S. led an invasion to overthrow the Taliban government in Afghanistan. In 2002, the Star-Spangled Banner was made into a movie to explain what happened came to make the Star-Spangled Banner the national anthem of the United States. Yeah. War of the Worlds, 2005, directed by Steven Spielberg. As Earth was invaded by aliens, machines, one family fights to survive and go past.
But I'm gonna let you finish this, Derek. Kanye West is the best rapper of all time. Of all time.